They deprived him of something he'd wanted to do, so... Hugging the clipboard to her chest, Carol tore her attention from the screen and back to Harold. So, I'm going to face my fears and do this for him. Though she tried to sound confident in her decision, her voice trembled.
You don't seem too excited about that.
Carol had spent years keeping her past in a box on the shelf, doing her best to not let others see how deeply her pain ran. Over the last few months, she'd determined that she had no choice but to acknowledge a lifetime of hurt in order to heal. Even so, the words to explain her fears wouldn't form. It's more than that. I have some post-traumatic issues that are triggered by water. Harold stared at her, as if he wasn't sure he should share what he was thinking. After a long stretch of silence, he said,
So, you're going to climb into a raft and surround yourself with something you know triggers you? Once you're out on the river, you can't change your mind. They can't turn around and take you back to shore.
Carol bit her lip hard to ward off the lump of emotion mounting in her chest. I have to face my fears and let them go. I'm tired of holding myself back because I'm scared. The last part came out strained. Admitting that truth hurt. Her fear had stopped her from doing what she knew she should so many times over her lifetime, and she usually thought back with a sense of disappointment in herself. She didn't want to do that anymore. She was trying to heal, and she understood that to do that, she had to learn to overcome her anxieties rather than avoid them. Harold scanned the group. 8 other people excitedly waited for their adventure to begin.
I don't suppose there's any point in telling you this is a terrible idea.
Carol smiled somewhat, but suspected her effort didn't look sincere. I have to do this, not only for Tobias, but for myself, too. And for Katie, Carol added silently. Her daughter had been gone for 24 years, but Carol never failed to consider how Katie would react to things. In this moment, right now, she'd be bouncing up and down, begging Carol to go rafting. Please, Mama, Katie would plead with her tiny hands clasped beneath her chin as she stared up with wide blue eyes. Pretty, please. Carol blinked the image of her little girl from her mind before the vision could take hold and bring tears to her eyes. Harold sat quietly for another long stretch. Though Carol had known him for less than 20 hours, she'd already realized he took time to think before speaking. She liked that about him.
When was the last time you were in water like this?
He asked. I was in the Pacific Ocean over the summer.
On a boat?
No, she answered quietly, her eyes downcast. I waded out, only to my knees. Harold nodded.
How'd that go?
Carol recalled how she'd panicked. She'd been with Katie's father, John, as they spread their daughter's ashes in the ocean. John had calmed Carol enough to get into the water, but within minutes, her anxiety won out and she'd rushed back to shore. Not great.
Do you really think this will be any different? Harold asked.
Well, I won't be in the water. Harold gestured lamely toward the video that was still playing.
You're going to get wet, and there's a risk that, even on the milder trips like this one, something could go wrong. You could end up in the water. That's why you have to sign a waiver. Are you okay with that?
Her heart dropped like a bowling ball carelessly tossed aside. She suspected any remaining color in her cheeks drained as she pictured herself flailing around while the raging river carried her away. Oh, hell, she'd managed to pretend that wasn't a possibility because she'd chosen the trip for beginners. However, falling into the water was a possibility. The raft could flip over. She could tumble over the edge. The water could swallow her up, take her away. Forever. The young woman with the brilliant smile held out her hand as she stopped in front of Carol. All done? Carol furrowed her brow, confused. Her mind was trapped in a loop, imagining the horror-filled screams that would leave her if she found herself drifting away. Harold pried the clipboard from her fingers and gently squeezed her hand.
Maybe we should do this tomorrow.
An argument formed on Carol's tongue, but she couldn't push the words beyond her lips. She was determined to face her fear, head on. Get this over with. Mark whitewater rafting off her list of things she wanted to do for Tobias and move forward. All the reasons she wanted to give stuck in her mouth, and she sat there, dumbfounded. He handed the board to the young lady.